So there's been a significant development in Nigeria's labor landscape. President Bola Tinubu has approved 70,000 naira as the new minimum wage for workers, a decision made during a crucial meeting with the leaders of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, at the presidential villa. After months of negotiations and debates, Nigeria's minimum wage has been increased to 70,000 naira.
Now, this decision follows extensive discussions between the government and labor unions amid economic challenges and high inflation. Today, we explore what this means for Nigerian workers and the broader economy. Joining us now is Mr. Ismail Adejumo, the Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Labour Congress Lagos Chapter. Mr. Ismail, thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've got a very interesting question, sir. Are congratulations in order? Is it a good thing? Are we happy at 70,000 naira? Is this what we set out for from before?
Thank you very much. Though it comes with mixed feeling, because the expectation of Nigerian workers and our standard, as proposed earlier, was a 3-digit threshold. We are looking at anything not below 3 digits. But as we have it, it's a going concern. The struggle continues. As Oliver Twist, we have taken this in good faith to align with the general interests of Nigerians, because people in the organized private sector are having challenge to cope with any wage that will be above that threshold for now, because it will subject the market to a job loss. Why job loss? In the private, and it also cascade down to the public sector. So we don't want to be selfish. The working people of Nigeria have come to say, okay, the takeaway from this struggle is that now the minimum wage regime now has been reduced from the usual 5 years review period to at least 3 years.
Is that enough? 3 years?
3 years is a going concern that at least for now, 3 years before the end of this administration, let's say before 2027, we should be on the table again to review what we have for now as 70,000. Although it's not a minimum wage, it's within the standard that we categorize in the labor cycle as starvation wage. But we are still struggling. Starvation. That is what it is, because if you look at the amount, it's about relatively, let's say, $43. So to say, and the percentage increase, about 130% increase, because it used to be 30,000. So it's a takeaway for us, and most importantly, there are some states who are viable that can pay above that 70,000. Because if you look at the trajectory, it was the Edo State governor that, initiated 70,000 benchmark, which the government now, at the national, now key into. But our own minimum wage demand, which is the what we call a living wage, have a breakdown from accommodation to housing to feeding to utility and all those basic needs that a worker will need to survive, which we can relatively call a kind of living wage. The government 70,000 does not have any basic breakdown.
So why agree to that amount? What was during the crucial meetings and the debate that was had between TUC, NLC, and the presidency? What was the key factors that led to that number of 70,000 naira? Thank
you very much. The first time the two Congress presidents met with the president, we are at a retreat, a training retreat at UYO. The president briefed the Congress that what the president proposed is that if you guys insist that you want 250,000, definitely there will be another pump price increase, which will inflict onto hardship to Nigerians generally. That is why the Congress leadership felt that at this time, let's take this away and re-strategize and see how government can ameliorate and assist the subnational level of government, which is the state, because the state are the main problem of Nigeria. They are comfortable, satisfying all their frivolity and all these white elephant projects that are not justifiable, that are not having direct impact in the lives of Nigerians. So that is the feeling of the labor leader, that instead of subjecting the people, the working people of Nigeria, to mass job loss, either from the private or from the public, let us go away with this, and it is a going concern.
So
we always ask for more.
Let's take a good look at where we were when we started with this debate about minimum wage, with the unions fighting for the citizens. we started at a point where inflation was somewhere about 33%, then went to 39%. At this point now, it's over 40%.
40%, yeah.
Now, if you consider how much I was buying a bag of rice then to how much I'm buying a bag of rice now, which is somewhere around, you buy bags of rice?
90 to 120 now.
Yeah, something like that. 70,000 naira doesn't cut it. From before the argument or the discussion, you could buy a bag of rice for somewhere around 58,000 naira.
60, thereabouts.
Exactly, or 60,000 naira. So let's consider that. Let's put that aside. Now, considering that this is going to be renewed every 3 years, or it's going to be taken a look at every 3 years, if you impute the rate of inflation like we've seen in the past few months, don't you think the inflation is going to overtake the 70,000 naira in less than a year, and that we may need to come back to the table again after 365 days?
Thank you very much. In that regard, the inflation, the rate at which it's growing now, is of great concern to average Nigerians and everybody, so to say. But another thing we are looking at as a labor leader is that in the area of taxation, because if you look at the level at which we are experiencing multiple taxation now, it's like giving somebody the money with the right hand and you're taking it back with the left hand. So we want to advocate that the government should give us what we call progressive taxation, that we kind of give us some relief, because the public service salary structure is consolidated, and what should be basically taxed should be the basic salary. But today now, if you are in a certain salary level, what you'll be taking from your salary as taxation, at least for those who we have carried out some research on, from level 12, 13 and above, nobody is paying less than 25,000 tax a month. And it depends on how is pay as you earn. So the higher you get, the higher you pay. So we don't want a situation whereby they give us with right hand and take it back with left hand. So we're also working on that to get some relief for workers, so that the little amount that we are earning is going to sustain. But the inflation, as the president have said, they are going to introduce a lot of cushioning effect, like the CNG buses they promised earlier on. So now they are going to deploy numbers of these CNG buses to assist the state governors, the subnational level of government, so that the issue of transportation can be reduced to a barest minimum, because that is one of the things that takes away most of the percentage of the working people's salary. Then the area of housing, there is mass housing going on that the government want to build for the working people. So through the National Housing Fund, people can begin to subscribe. The debate is on, and at the training we had, people came to lecture us how we can key in, even in the private sector. So that at least once we have a basic shelter, your shelter for yourself, you can feed comfortably within the space of what you are earning, definitely you should be able to be comfortable to face the work and be more productive. So that is our concern. The inflation, the government have promised all sorts of measures they are going to use to cushion it, to reduce it drastically. But be that as it may, if it's not coming as lower as we expect, 3 years is just at the corner. We'll come back again. The government have to review it, because the government have expanded the tax nets now. They are gaining more revenue. Most of the
Judith,
states.
I don't know if you agree. If this is, but you're going to ask a question.
Because does review mean that that there might be a guaranteed change in 3 years? Because you keep saying reviewing. There's going to be a review in 3 years. But does a review guarantee a change if the situation remains the same and the cost of living and the economy and the inflation numbers continue to rise?
Yeah, quite frankly, the current inflation has eroded even the so-called 70%, because 70,000 naira. Because I said it earlier on that what we categorize it in the labor cycle, what we have now is kind of starvation wage. It's not even a living wage. So it's not even within the threshold according to ILO.
So does a 3-year review consolidate or assure that there will be a change of salary should things continue the same?
It's a growing concern as the government is progressing with their policy. We are going to measure it along with them that, okay, you have attained some level of inflation reduction. So we, the working class, also should be able to at least be, benefit, to be comfortable with whatever we are earning.
So, Mr. Adejumo, what you're saying is we're going to have this dance again in about 3 years.
I will be dancing every time, because the government, the only thing they understand is to come and struggle. Because nothing has come. If you look at the minimum wage
but noting that once these struggles or this dance takes place, we are the ones to suffer. But, however, I want to shift from that and talk about a rumor that we heard. Actually, this was in the news. There was talk that when 250,000 naira was proposed to the presidency actually told Joe Ajero, the NLC president, that, okay, fine, we could do that, but if we do that, then we're going to have to increase price of the pump price of fuel. Is this true? Did this happen?
Fantastic. That is the truth. I said it when I granted interview. Was it not on Friday via Zoom? I was in New York then. So to let you know, that is the position. That is the body language, because we study the body language of government. If you are going to a negotiation table, you don't go with fixed mind or kind of dogmatic mind. You have to be flexible.
So and the
flexibility will go with the card on the table. That, okay, you take this, we jack up the pump price. If the pump price of petrol should be increased now from what it is that is not stable, because if you go to the market now, you can get it some places, well, maybe like 800 naira. Some people are selling 700 and something naira.
So my question is, are the unions empathizing with the government now? Because it seems like there's a change of tune.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you're trying to enlighten the people.
With the government.
No, just a second, Mr.
There
Adejumo.
will be likelihood of mass job loss. If you look at the paper review this morning, you heard that the government said they have been successfully been able to reduce, get away 6,000 ghost worker from the payroll. The overbloated payroll need to be clean. Need to clean up the payroll. Some people are in diaspora working and are earning. So, courtesy who? The people in government, they need to come out clean. If you are going to earn a living wage, you should be able to work and earn it.
I hear a mechanism that serves as a mouthpiece for the government right now. I hear a mechanism that serves as a mouthpiece for the government, because now it seems
like you're now making a case for the government.
We are not. We are partner in progress. Let's get it right.
Okay.
As a labor movement, we are partner in progress. We have to understand the dynamics of government, the way the governance is being operated. And we, in the labor circle as leadership, we also need to feel and relate the plight of our members to the government, vis-a-vis the level of sustainability and survival of an average worker.
Speaking of sustainability and survival, I must ask this question about one of the structure and one of the very tenets of our society, and that's education. You talk about housing, wages, but during your discussion, there were also discussions about, or during the crucial talks for this number that we now have, there were discussions about withheld salaries of university staff. I'd like to know what the outcome was for those discussions on the sidelines of the minimum wage negotiations.
You see, our colleague in the educational sector, they have their own salary scale quite different, and they have kind of mechanism for the review. Although now they are owing a lot of arrears, and the solidarity, we have to come out to rally around support for them, for government to pay them those arrears, and at the same time pay what is commensurate, because now the educational sector is having a lot of challenge, skill gap are there. So they need to do more in terms of investing in educational research. It is from the research from the institutions that we get innovations in society. We become, a kind of developing economy. But when we are not investing in research, we'll be stagnant. So we have a concern. The outcome of this discussion, for now, I have not really have a kind of categorical statement to say, okay, this is what government have really promised. But it's a going concern. The negotiation is ongoing. We believe in a short while, they will be able to come out with a press release that, okay, this is what government is going to offer. When we go to negotiation, there are options.
I understand.
And thank you very much, Mr. Adejumo. Able to juggle and say, okay, this is where we stand to survive. If we have to be selfish,
thank you very much,
President, don't worry, pay us 250. So jack up the pump price to maybe 2,000 naira.
We are out of time,
sir. Going to suffer.
Thank you very much for your insight on this matter.
It's very unpalatable. Yes. Mr. Ismail, we want to say thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you for providing insight, and we look forward to how this new minimum wage will impact Nigerian workers in the future.
Yes, my closing remark will be there are dynamics in the new world of work. Technology is taking most people's job, and we are concerned about that. If you look at now, I can see your studio.
Sir, we wish we could let you go on, but we can't. We have to take a look at.
We need to prepare the mind of our workers.
Mr. Adejumo, just a second. Sorry. Yeah, so, thank you very much. We really appreciate it, but we're out of time, and we need to take a perspective on what people are thinking about the 70,000 naira minimum wage. Do take a look, and we'll be back with the news after.
An average Nigerian may survive for 150,000, not 70,000. 70,000 is not enough. 70,000 now cannot buy a bag of maize or a bag of rice. I was in market yesterday and I went with 100,000 naira. 100,000 could not buy me what I desire to come home with as an average Nigerian. I want the president to look at this issue critically.
The 70,000, I cannot do anything as a month salary. As a month salary, let's work towards our transportation in a month, no matter how. And the house rent towards feeding. Maintenance of the house, no matter how, you will pay NEPA bill, you will pay your gas. We have so many maintenance, talk less our children. We are going to pay school fees. Each children are spending more than 2,000 naira in a day. We are going to school and coming back. We have to feed them. 70,000 naira is not enough. At least if we are going to manage minimum wage, it should be 150,000 naira.
I think the emphasis should not be based on the salary increment. It should rather be devoted to how the inflation will come down. The inflation is too much. 70,000 naira cannot cater for the problem we are facing. Now, our emphasis should be based on the inflation rate, which has to come down at all costs. 70,000 naira, it means you are buying a bag of rice. I would suggest 65,000 naira. We have to fight the inflation. That's the essence of this, struggle, not the salary increment. I still maintain it. But be that as it may, as we are having it now, let's still fold our hands and see what will come up. Because it's not something that they will come back next month and say, it's not enough. No. From the basis, let's fight the problem from the basis and seek the solution to the problem.
Honestly, if we should look at it, it's in two ways. Considering the 70,000 naira proposed minimum wage, if we would say it is not enough, then increasing it, is it really the solution? Because we know how the market system works in Nigeria. The more the minimum wage or salary increment is, the higher the things you buy in the market. So I just think there are a lot of other tactics that the government can use to work on the whole economic system in Nigeria. The 70,000, yes, it is a way forward because the current minimum wage is a no-no. It's supposed to, it's due for this thing, for reviews for a long time, and for us to get 70,000 now, it is a progressive step, but that is not the destination we're arriving at. So definitely there is a lot to be done in reviewing the economic system so that we won't keep having the same problem. Now there is 70,000, the market women will hear this news, then the pepper that they are supposed to sell for 1,000 naira will become 5,000 naira, and where is the justification for this increment in the real sense? So I think a lot needs to be done to work on our economic system so that we can have a balanced system, and no matter the amount of salary, even people in the private sector that are earning way higher than the minimum wage, they are still complaining. So how do we say that this 70,000 minimum wage is the solution to our problem? We have a lot of problem beyond here, but I think it is a step forward, and we will get there hopefully.
The minimum wage is crap. It's not going to get anyone anywhere. It's just too small for an average Nigerian to survive. It's just too small. Because when you look at things, when you look at, the cost of living, from house rent to transportation to feeding, you realize that the money cannot do anything. You understand? So instead of the government trying to work out modalities on how to increase the minimum wage, having disputes, having series of meetings with the laborers, I just think what they need to do is to focus on their economy. You understand? Let the price of commodities be brought down. When you see people increasing rent, when you see people increasing the price of price of bread, price of or rice and the likes, it's not their fault. Why? Because they too are buying these raw materials in which they used to produce, and the raw materials have all gone high. You understand? Just because the major factor behind it, which is the petroleum resources, has gone up. You understand? So that thing has gone up, and the government is not giving us the corresponding revenue. They're not giving us the corresponding value. in our own services to them.
What the government needs to do now is to increase the production rate in this country. So this is not the time to decide, to make a decision on minimum wage increment. So they should make sure they increase the level of production. At least if that can be done by them, at least it will go somewhere, it will reach somewhere. And I even heard that they want to share bags of rice to the state. Is that the next thing to do? How many people will it reach? Eh? How many people would that reach? So that's not the next thing. So, to me, their governance is mainly based on deceiving people. They are not transparent with us.